Putin is at the moment in the middle of his end-of-year address and question and answer session, and so I'd like to just look at the beginning of this, and particularly in the light of the ongoing war in Ukraine, a conflict now approaching its third year grim anniversary, and this annual spectacle, a marathon question and answer session with a curated audience, serves as both a public relations exercise and a window into the Kremlin's narrative machine. And the optics of Putin's address are now very familiar, a calculated mix of confidence and deflection, while fielding questions on Russia's economy and the war in Ukraine, and Putin emphasizing stability, a term he has used to gloss over the rising inflation rate of 9% and the soaring costs of holiday staples, a stark contrast to his claims of economic growth. He doesn't mention butter, or he hasn't mentioned butter so far, which is locked in little cases, rather like steak is sometimes locked in little cases in the co-op. He's reassured Russians that these shortages, as though addressing dairy concerns could overshadow the much larger crisis unfolding on the battlefield, are not an issue. On the military front, Putin has adopted his characteristic tone of resilience, acknowledging setbacks while insisting on progress, and his admission that he could not provide a timetable for regaining control of the Kursk region, now contested after the Ukrainian incursion, is striking. It highlights the depth of Russia's struggles against a tenacious Ukrainian counteroffensive that has even breached Russian territory. Yet Putin's rhetoric tries to frame the Russian forces as heroes, literally heroically fighting in both Ukraine and within Russia itself in a defensive format, a pivot designed to rally nationalistic fervour, and his promises to rebuild homes and schools in Kursk, while emotionally resonant, also underscores the sheer scale of the destruction that has been brought about by the conflict that he has engineered by invading Ukraine in the first place. Meanwhile, the war has grown increasingly complex. Ukrainian drones and missiles struck an oil refinery in Russia overnight, showcasing Kyiv's capacity to retaliate deep within Russian territory, and Putin has responded with bravado, extolling the capabilities of Russia's new hypersonic missile, the Oreshnik, challenging the West to a technological duel. Such rhetoric, boasting of weapons that ostensibly outmatch Western defences, is both an assertion of strength and a reminder of the war's escalating stakes. More than that, the fact that he doesn't detail the issues of the strike itself suggests that everything is scripted and approved long before he gets into his seat. Again, giving the distinct impression this is not Putin, but a doppelganger who's been very well coached, very well, and is performing very ably as the Putin lookalike. Putin's remarks, but I'm going to continue calling him Putin because what else can I call him? Putin's remarks also acknowledge the global character of the war. His approval of a nuclear doctrine and amendment allowing for nuclear retaliation against conventional attacks from non-nuclear states supported by nuclear powers raises the spectre of catastrophic escalation. And furthermore, the reported deaths of North Korean soldiers in Russia's Kursk region symbolise an increasingly internationalised conflict, with Pyongyang's involvement underscoring the lengths to which Moscow will go to bolster its forces and its flagging spirit. Simultaneously, Ukraine continues to defy expectations. While Russia claimed advances near Kharkiv, Ukrainian forces are making it costly. Kyiv's strategic strikes, bolstered by Western long-range missile support, are evidence of a calculated approach to disrupt Russian logistics and morale. And at the same time, President Zelensky has called for greater unity between the US and the EU, underscoring the necessity of Western resolve in sustaining Ukraine's efforts. Putin's address painted a picture of determination and defiance, but beneath the surface lies a nation grappling with a protracted war, economic strain, and the erosion of its invincibility narrative. His talk of victory nearing feels increasingly hollow as the war grinds on with no clear end in sight, unless he's talking about his friendship with Mr. Trump, which does near. That's coming in the middle of January. For Ukraine, the battle remains existential. For the West, the challenge is to maintain support without succumbing to premature calls for peace. without giving up on the hope for peace, of course, at the same time. For Russia, the war's growing costs in humanity, in economics, in global reputation signal that even Putin's carefully staged appearances cannot shield him indefinitely from the reality of his own special military operation and his flagging confidence, his flagging reputation, his flagging humanity.